Hello again and welcome to another video in the series. The first two videos in this series are very important and should be watched before the others. They contain important introductory and safety information that is very helpful in our discussions about specific firearms. In this video we're going to talk about the firearm on the table in front of us. This is a 22 semi-automatic rifle made by Marlin. It has telescopic sights. It has a removable magazine. And we're going to talk about, first of all, the specific cartridge that this uses. It shoots what's called a 22 long rifle. It's not a very big round. It's not extremely powerful, but it is adequate for small game and is very lethal if abused. So don't let the fact that it's a small round think that it can't be harmful. So that's the cartridge. Let's talk about the sights just briefly. This has telescopic sights. This is essentially a small telescope. It's about a 4-power magnification, so it gives you a magnified image of the target, and it also crosshairs inside that allow you to point accurately at the target. As I said, it's a semi-automatic action. That means that once you have loaded it, you don't need to load each round individually. When the first round is in the chamber, you pull the trigger. It fires that round, ejects the empty casing, and puts a new round into the chamber to be fired. So every time you squeeze the trigger, it will fire a round. Here's the magazine for this rifle. This is a 10-round removable magazine. It's loaded by simply putting the cartridges into the top of the magazine. They push down against a spring. The purpose of the spring is simply to push them up where the action can load each cartridge into the chamber. So it's loaded like so. And once you put all the rounds in, the magazine is inserted into the bottom of the rifle, and it's ready to be fired. Now I'm actually going to remove the magazine before I work the action, so we won't put a round into the chamber. We really don't want to deal with having a live round in the chamber right here. But now I'm going to show how the action works. Simply pulling back here opens the action to where you can see into the chamber. I'll actually show a close-up of that in a moment. But once the magazine is in, pulling this back once and releasing it will load the first round into the chamber, and then after that you simply pull the trigger to fire and load each round. Let's see, what else do we need to talk about? Oh yes, we should talk about unloading. And I'm going to get a flashlight here to help with this. To unload this gun and to make sure it is completely unloaded, you need to remove the magazine, as I did earlier. So when the magazine is removed, you then need to open the action, and there's actually an action lock right here. Push that up and that holds the action back. I use a flashlight here. You can see into the action, you can see the firing chamber and see that it's empty. That's the only way to be sure that this gun is unloaded, is to both remove the magazine and then to open the action and ensure that there's nothing in the chamber. And when you've done that, the gun is unloaded and it's safe. Here's the trigger used to fire the gun, and there's a little button right here next to the trigger. That's the safety. The safety is intended to make sure the trigger cannot be pulled when it shouldn't be. And it's now operated simply by pushing one direction or the other. I've turned the gun over so you can see this. When this red band is visible, that means that the safety is off, the gun can be fired. To apply the safety, you push it the opposite direction, and in that position the trigger in theory cannot be pulled. I don't emphasize the safety a lot when I'm talking about firearm safety, simply because it's a mechanical device that can fail, and you should not depend on it to prevent accidental firings. You should use it, you should know where it is, but you should not depend on it to make up for safe practices in handling firearms. So I think that's everything for this gun. So I'll shut off the camera and we'll see you with the next video.